You can't have a relationship with your wife without her consent. Even if the wife doesn't want to, the husband shouldn't touch it. Before praying, make sure to ask yourself if you desperately need it. Otherwise, don't pray. This is because habitual prayer is not true. God said, "There is no place in the world where pride and I can be together." The happiest man in the world is the one who got a good wife.
Women are more friendly than men.
A rich man is a man who can be satisfied with what he has. Turning from happiness to unhappiness is momentary, but on the contrary, it takes a long time to turn misfortune into happiness. Yada is an act of creation. Without this, self-fulfillment cannot be achieved. The word yada also means gender in Hebrew, which means know the other person. Cucumber, which has just begun to open, may taste good in the future. Locks exist for honest people. Rather than regretting what you already did, regret not doing what you wanted to do. The best wisdom is kindness and humility. Doing immoral things at home is like a fruit bug, because it spreads unknowingly. Something irreplaceable in the world. It is an old wife who married and lived in her youth. The righteous are called Sansa even after death. However, the wicked are said to be dead even if they are alive. If you wake up late in the morning, drink during the day, and talk nonsense in the evening, humans can simply make life in vain. The world is created by two or more people working together. Even if you get married because of passion, passion does not last longer than marriage. You can learn humility from cats, learn honesty from ants, learn fidelity from pigeons, and learn property rights from roosters. Think there are more misfortunes than this. Love is not everything in life. A man in love doesn't listen to other people's advice. The winner steps on the snow to make a path, but the loser waits for the snow to melt. There's nothing lighter than admitting wrongdoing. But there is nothing more heavy-hearted than trying to be recognized as right. The winner thinks there is another way, but the loser insists there is only one way. Women are apt to indulge in unreasonable beliefs. Humans worry about other people's minor skin diseases, but they do not show their serious diseases. The purpose of marriage is joy, the purpose of the funeral participant is silence, and the purpose of the lecture is listening. The purpose of visiting people is to arrive quickly. The purpose of teaching is concentration. The purpose of fasting is to give charity with money. Making others happy is like spraying perfume. It's good for a woman to drink. 2 drinks demean her. The 3rd cup becomes immoral, and the 4th cup self-destructs. A man who has learned a lot but does not do good is like a wild horse. It knocks the rider down as soon as he gets on. Hate sin, but not man. Humans have a chest close to their chest. Animals are far from their chests. This is God's deep consideration. To get to know a person, look at his wallet, joy, and complaints. Many people read books to avoid thinking and run away. Love from impure motives disappears when motivation disappears. It is better to lend money or things than to just give them. If you just receive it, the recipient should be under the person who gives it, but if you lend it and borrow it, you can treat it equally. The son of a poor family will be praised. They are people who bring wisdom to mankind. If the couple is truly in love, they can sleep in a bed as wide as a blade, but when they start to antagonize each other, they become too narrow even in a bed as long as 10 meters. Who is wise, and who learns from everyone is wise. Cats and mice do not fight when they eat food animals together. Anyone running for honor cannot keep up with it, but those who flee from fame are caught up in it. Be a coward when choosing a wife. Women have a faster sixth sense than men. If man had no impulse for evil, he would not build a house, have no wife, have no children, or work. If you are obsessed with the urge to evil, start learning something to drive it away. A man who can't shut his mouth is like a house where the gate doesn't close. You shouldn't talk back to your father. Don't abuse your wife for no reason. God is always counting her tears. A coin in the jar makes a sound, but the jar full of coins is quiet. The best medicine to improve memory is admiration. Wine tastes as good as new, but the older it gets, the better it tastes. Wisdom is the same thing. Wisdom is honed over time. God didn't make the first woman into a man's head because he shouldn't rule a man. And what was not made with his feet is that he should not be a slave. Made of ribs, to keep her close to his chest at all times. There are 3 things that hurt people: anguish, an argument, an empty wallet, and among them, an empty wallet hurt people the most. Fish are always caught with their mouths. Humans also get caught with their mouths. Charity given by others is only half the value of charity done by oneself. Actions speak louder than words. It is more difficult to deceive yourself than to deceive others. Children should be taught strictly when they are young, but they should not be afraid of anything. You shouldn't marry a woman without meeting her. I learned a lot from my teacher, a lot from my friends, and even from my students. Push or pull to open the door to success. Money can never make everything good, but it doesn't make everything rot. From the age of 13, the bad impulses in humans are increasingly stronger than the urge for good. Rumor is the best letter of introduction. Parents who do not teach their sons diligence are no different from teaching their sons theft. Don't listen to the advice of a doctor who writes a prescription for free. Any string breaks if pulled too hard. Physical labor makes a man noble and honorable. If you don't teach your child the art of using the body, it's teaching him to steal. If you have a lot of wealth, you have more worries, but if you don't have any wealth, you have more worries. When alcohol goes into your head, the secret is pushed out. He respects and obeys his father because he seeks food for his family and gives them clothing. It doesn't matter if one person says, "You're a donkey." Worry if 2 people say so. And if 3 people say so, buy a saddle for yourself. Don't try to appease your friend when he is angry. Don't console him even when he's grieving. He who gives up the fight first when 2 people fight is a more noble man. You have to hold your temper against the person who lent you the money. It is natural for a man to flirt with a woman, but it is not right for a woman to flirt with a man. That's because the man is trying to recover what he lost. Nothing makes you feel more comfortable than admitting your fault. Nothing always weighs as much as you claim to be right. Wealth is a fortress, poverty is a ruin. Humans have 3 friends: children, wealth, good deeds. At first, the man God made was both benign. Therefore, there are female hormones among men and male hormones among women. To achieve happiness, one must move away from satisfaction. The impulse to evil is like copper, so it can be made into any shape when it is in the fire. No matter how good a person is, a foul-mouthed human being is like a stinking leather factory in a fine palace neighborhood. There will be friends who praise and follow you, and there will be friends who criticize and criticize you. Stay close to a friend who criticizes you and stay away from a friend who praises you. The difference between a good-natured human being and a wise human being is that a good-natured man is a person who can get out of a difficult situation that would never be missed if he were a wise human being. No one lives in a city without schools. Roses bloom among thorns. No man can resist the strange beauty of a woman. A seriously injured person is more guilty than using a weapon to hurt people. Weapons cannot hurt an opponent if they are not close, but they can hurt a person from a distance. The winner finds meaning even if he comes last, but the loser finds meaning only when he wins first place. The best education to teach children is to set an example for yourself. If you promise a child something, be sure to keep it. If you don't keep it, you're teaching your child to lie. The winner wakes up the dawn, and the loser waits for the dawn. Through prayer, we can clearly see the attitude toward God and others, and what we should do. Don't try to make an ocean at once. When alcohol goes into your head, the secret is pushed out. A person becomes smaller when he or she gets close to him or her. Those who close the door to good deeds must open the door for the doctor next time. Sin is weak like a woman at first, but if left alone, it becomes strong like a man. Sin is thin at first like a spider's web. However, at the end, it becomes strong like a rope connecting a ship. When a boring person leaves the room, it feels like someone has entered the room. A child must respect his father. Winners say yes or no clearly, losers say yes or no moderately. Winners live for the process, losers live for the result. There is a big difference between a person who is ashamed in front of others and a person who is ashamed in front of himself. Selling to someone who needs it is not business. True businessmanship is to sell something you don't have to someone who doesn't need it. The voice of the people is the voice of God. He that spits in a well shall drink it one day. There are 3 things in the world that shouldn't be used too much. It is yeast, salt, and hesitation in bread. The bad of a good man is better than the good of an evil man. He who is superior to others is just as strong an impulse to evil. Sex has to be done in a very personal relationship and in a very close atmosphere. You shouldn't have sex when you feel like you can't control yourself. The reason why men are attracted to women is because men try to recover what they have lost because they have taken away ribs from them and made women. He who can learn something from everyone he meets is the wisest man in the world. If you wake up late in the morning, drink during the day, and talk rubbish in the evening, humans can simply make your life in vain. The first impulse to evil is very sweet. But when it's over, it's very bitter. Be as soft and curvy as a reed, not as hard and uncurved as a cedar. People blame stones first when they fall on the street. Learn knowledge from books, learn wisdom in life. A 5-year-old child is your master, a 10-year-old child is a slave, and a 15-year-old child is equal. After that, depending on how you educate them, they can be friends or enemies. Humans neglect what they have and covet what they don't have. A ship needs only one captain. It is wrong to think that you can work alone without friends. But it's very wrong to think that you can't handle things on your own without friends. And it is even more wrong to think that a friend cannot work without himself. The winner's day is 25 hours and the loser's day is only 23 hours. Don't discriminate when raising a child. He who has a sword cannot stand with a book. A man standing with a book cannot stand with a knife. A person has 3 names. These are the 3 names given to both parents at birth, the names they call with friendship, and the reputation they gain at the end of their lives. A stronger person is a person who suppresses emotions. Blame the person once you've been deceived by the other person. But blame yourself for being deceived by that person twice. Humans are supported by 3 things: knowledge, wealth, and good deeds. No man grows up. However, as a child, he only grows older by 1 year. Sex must be written for only one person in a person's life. If your friend has vegetables, give him meat. Don't rely on luck for everything. It's great for a woman to have a drink. 2 drinks demean her. The 3rd cup becomes immoral, and the 4th cup self-destructs. He who strives to find his own faults does not look for others' faults, and he who finds only others' faults does not look for his own faults. When a name is sold, it is soon forgotten. The winner sees the sun above the clouds, and the loser sees the rain in the clouds. A man has 1 mouth and 2 ears. This means to double your listening rather than speaking. Even if many candles are lit with 1 candle, the light of the first candle does not cloud. Sin is a guest at first. However, if you leave it as it is, the customer becomes the owner. If the waiter has good manners, any drink becomes American wine. Even if your friend is as sweet as honey to you, don't lick everything. The biggest punishment given to a liar is, even when he tells the truth, people don't believe it. No child should sit in the father's seat. It is worth twice as much to be silent in the right place as it is to be said in the right place. The winner's mouth is honestly full, and the loser's mouth is full of excuses. Who is the smartest person? In every case, a person who knows how to learn something from everything is a smart person. Who is a strong man? He who can control himself is a strong man. Who is the richest man? He who is content with his own share is a man of his own share. See the little mistakes you have made against others as big, and the big mistakes you have made against you as small. Gossip is more dangerous than murder. Murder kills only 1 person, but gossip kills only 3 humans. The person who spreads gossip himself, the person who listens without opposing it, the person who is making headlines. A horse pulls a cart. Cows can pull carts, too. However, horses and cattle should not be tied to one repair and pulled away. Be the tail of a lion rather than the head of a fox. It is not enough to know what is good. Good must be done. He who cares only about his own faults does not realize the faults of man. A man loved by others is a man who praises everyone. A thief who doesn't steal thinks he's honest. If the waiter's manners are good, any drink becomes a beautiful drink. Enthusiasm is like a spider web. It looks like a strange customer at first, but it looks like a regular customer and later becomes the owner of the house. If you spray water on the burning firewood, it becomes cold to the inside. But even if you apologize to a person who is angry due to severe damage, you cannot extinguish the fire in your heart. There can be no one in the world who only does the right thing. He is doing bad things without fail. Sex is part of nature. Therefore, there can be nothing unnatural when having sex. A thick wallet is not necessarily good, but it does not mean that an empty wallet is good. When scolding a child, scold him only once, and do not always scold him with nagging. Water originally flows along the valley without staying at the top of the mountain. As such, true virtue does not stay with those who try to be higher than others, but only with those who are humble and want to be lower. It is right because it is poor, and it is not right because it is rich. Even if you don't go into a perfume store and buy perfume, when you come out, you smell perfume. And even if you don't go into a leather store and buy leather, you smell very bad leather. A brilliant person has two kinds of education. One is education from a teacher, and the other is education from oneself. A man who does not do charity, no matter how rich he is no more than salt on a table full of delicious dishes. Love without jealousy is not true love. The winner jumps into the problem. The loser hovers only on the edge of the problem. When people who are remarried marry each other, 4 men and women sleep in the bed. The winner stands up 8 times even if he falls 7 times, and the loser regrets everything 7 times. All mankind has only one ancestor. Therefore, no human being is superior to any human being. If you kill one human being, it's the same as killing all mankind. Likewise, saving a person's life is the same thing as saving the lives of all mankind. Because if the world was started by one human being and killed the first human being, mankind cannot exist today. Humans have breasts close to their hearts. Animals have breasts far from their hearts. This is God's deep consideration. Do your best in your job in a low position instead of trying to hold a high position. It is better to be told, go up, than to be told, go down, by others. God himself brings down the man who sits high to the low, and raises the man who humbles himself. Holidays are given to humans, not to holidays. Shameful in front of a crowd is like bleeding. Let's not regret it too much, because it hurts the courage to do the right thing. If you have a good jar, use it within the day. It may be broken by tomorrow. A man's house is his wife. The world is weak, but there is something that scares the strong. First, mosquitoes give fear to lions. Second, leeches fear buffaloes. Third, flies fear scorpions. Fourth, spiders give fear to hawks. No matter how big and powerful he is not necessarily a scary being. Even if you are very weak, you can beat the strong if you have certain conditions. Take one step down the stairs when choosing a wife and one step up the stairs when choosing a friend. Every part of the body depends on the mind. What it's like to teach children. It's like drawing something on a blank sheet. What is it like to teach an elderly person? It's like trying to find and write a space on a piece of paper that's already been written a lot. There are two kinds of kings in the world. One is the king who controls the earth, and one is the king who controls the heart. Be master of will and slave of conscience. 3 things that make a person feel confident. It's a good family, a good wife, good clothing. Some people are young and old, and others are young even if they are old. It is better to live in poverty than to live at others' expense. Books are shared by all, and everyone has a duty to learn. Expensive pearls are lost, so candles of little value are used to find them. Rather than being blind, I'm afraid of being invisible. He who kills himself every day has nowhere to go in this world or the underworld. The old age of the foolish is winter, but the old age of the wise is golden. Even if your friend is as sweet as honey, don't suck it all up. If you don't study for a day, it takes 2 days to get it back. If you don't study for 2 days, it takes 4 days to get it back. If you don't study for a year, it takes 2 years to get it back. The gossip stands in Syria but kills in Rome. Set up a witness when lending money to a person, and do so without anyone seeing you when you are in the red. Women value their appearance the most. A man is as sweet as jam, but he cannot live without bread. A strong man is a man who can suppress himself and a man who can turn enemies into friends. The rich keep God in their pockets, but the poor keep God in their hearts. Money is not evil, nor is it a curse. Money is a blessing. There is a dream in the pocket of the winner, and greed in the pocket of the loser. The right man controls his desires, but the wrong man is controlled by them. When the winner sees someone superior to him, he admires and finds something to learn. And the loser is jealous and tries to find out if there is a hole in the person's armor. Humans are stronger than steel, but weaker than flies. The world stands on 3 foundations: truth, law, and peace. Winners live for the process, losers experience the satisfaction of achievement at every moment, and losers never experience the satisfaction of achievement. There are 6 useful parts to humans. 3 of them cannot be controlled by themselves, but 3 are parts that can be managed by human power. The eyes, ears, and nose are the front ones, and the mouth, hands, and feet are the back ones. You may make others praise you, but do not praise yourself with your own mouth. When one dog starts barking, everyone in the neighborhood starts barking. A bad-tempered man cares about his neighbor's income and does not care about his own waste. If knowledge is shallow, it will soon be lost. 3 things that make one's mind stable: great songs, quiet scenery, clean scent. Evil things are sweet at first, but bitter later. But good things are bitter first but sweet later. He who thinks little of food is not hungry. Nothing is more precious than health. The judge must feel as if his neck is hanging before he declares a dramatic sentence. Children imitate the way their parents talk. Personality can be seen by the way the story is told. When a man marries, sin rises. Winners prove words with actions, but losers excuse actions with words. The winner's favorite word is, "Let's do it again," and the loser's favorite word is, "There's nothing much to do, Ida." The urge to evil is sweet at first, but when it's over, it's bitter. A world in which a good man listens to his subordinates and the old man listens to what the young man says should be blessed. Money should be spent on business, not on alcohol. Trees are known by their fruit, and men are judged by their work. Don't just look at the skin. Look what's inside. The free movement of the fingers is to avoid listening to gossip. Cover your ears if you hear gossip. Of course, it is important to say how to live a right and a great life, but it is more important to practice it. Teach your tongue the word, I don't know, diligently. Of all diseases, nothing is more painful than a mental illness. Of all evil, there is nothing worse than a bad wife. Only those who deny themselves can see the teaching of truth. He who is always in silence is apt to approach God. Therefore, a light-hearted person unnecessarily makes fun of his mouth, and immediately feels lonely and nervous. When you decide to refrain from doing something you regret, you approach the truth. Let's say what we have to say, but let's refrain from saying unnecessary things. Let's do our job silently. Let's move forward with reflection. Knowing oneself is the greatest wisdom. Grinding the mind is more precious than grinding the brain. Even the poor should give love if they are loved. Ignorance and pride are brothers. There are 6 useful parts to humans. 3 of them cannot be controlled by themselves, but 3 are parts that can be managed by human power. The eyes, ears, and nose are the front ones, and the mouth, hands, and feet are the back ones. Evil sprouts into the human mind from the time of the fetus and becomes stronger as humans grow. Even if self-defects cannot be easily corrected, efforts for self-improvement should be continued. A man has 1 mouth and 2 ears. This means listening twice as much as speaking. A woman's jealousy has only 1 cause. Father should not side with others if he is arguing with them. Humans can forget what they have learned in 20 years for 2 years. There is a dream in the pocket of the winner, and greed in the pocket of the loser. A person who points a finger at a person, even if he didn't hit them, is a vicious person. The ideal man has the strength of a man and the softness of a woman.